Mitchell for three. Unbelievable.
Gather around, boys and girls.
Embiid, coast to coast for 70.
Let me teach you who the Big Dipper is.
Keeps the dribble alive. All the way to the hoop. Scoop to the hoop with a ball.
He's in a category of his own.
Individual scoring is up. Since the NBA's first season over 75 years ago, there have been 36 players to score at least 60 in a game. Half have done it since 2014. And when it comes to 70-point games, half of those players are currently active today. With scoring levels at their highest point in over 50 years, it's fair to wonder if Wilt's 100-point record is in jeopardy. I'm Dennis Sheehy. I'll show you how Wilt did it back then, but more importantly, I'll show you how it's about to happen again.
The people always say they don't know if it's true or if it's false. Did Wilt actually score 100 points? Wasn't nobody as big as him and wasn't nobody as good as him. It was like he was playing with ants.
Yeah.
And I would say it was easy work. Bop, bop.
The key to understanding Wilt's record is to understand the key itself. The reason it's called a key is because it was originally shaped like a keyhole. From the NBA's first season, the base of the key, the paint area, measured 6 feet across. In these early years, George Mikan dominated the league. He won 4 titles in 5 years, leading the league in scoring 3 years in a row. As an amazing long jumper, he was the foundation of the NBA's first true dynasty. To level the playing field, the league changed the distance across the paint from 6 to 12 feet. This shifting of the painted area nullified Mikan's tremendous athletic advantage and created more parity in the league, at least until Wilt Chamberlain arrived in 1959. At 7'1", 275 pounds, he immediately dominated. This is highlighted by Wilt's amazing 50.4 points per game in 1962. It was this season where Wilt famously scored 100 points in a game. So how was he able to do this? He was absolutely the most gifted athlete to ever play to this point, and the painted area was only 12 feet across, 25% smaller than it is today. With the offensive 3-second rule in place since 1949, Wilt could use his tremendous size, strength, and agility to post up 2 feet closer to the basket. To that point, the NBA was unprepared for an athlete of Wilt's abilities. Imagine Shaquille O'Neal, Akeem Olajuwon, or even Victor Wembanyama getting to post up that much closer to the basket. It wasn't until the 1964-65 season that the NBA expanded the paint to its current 16-foot width. Consider this, Wilt played 14 years in the league. He scored 50 points an astonishing 118 times. 97 of those came in his first 5 seasons with the smaller paint. 21 came in his next 9 when the paint was expanded. In fact, there are only 4 times a player has averaged over 30 shots a game over the course of a full season. They were all Wilt, and all came before the league expanded the paint. But it's not just the court dimensions that led to Wilt's record-setting mark. The pace of play was extremely high in that era. In 1962, the NBA averaged over 107 shots per game. Compare that to the days of Jordan and Kobe, when the league averaged only 80 shots. This past season, in 2024, the league averaged just under 89 shots. It was during this 62 season that Wilt averaged an incredible 39.5 shots per game. So if anyone thinks the game was slow and plodding back then, nothing could be further from the truth. From those mid-60s up until the 90s, a span of around 30 years, the NBA's pace would gradually slow. So the question now becomes, how could 100 points in a game ever happen again? For that answer, we have to look at one man, Michael Jordan.
Get it away, the broke out by Bailey, and gets it away to Jordan. Cuts back left down the lane.
In him, there has never been a greater fusion of style, stats, and will to win. For the first time, as a guard, it was David who consistently and thoroughly defeated Goliath. Basketball fans everywhere loved him, and the ratings reflected that. If we look at the NBA Finals ratings during Jordan's title years, and then look at the same ratings after his retirement, the drop-off is stunning. The NBA took notice too, and it seems they had a choice to make. They could either wait for the next Jordan, a once-in-a-lifetime talent, or they could help create the next Jordan, maybe even several Jordans. So they set out to increase a perimeter player's ability to move with the basketball. Whether through direct rule changes, or perhaps simply the interpretation of the way calls are made, players would have much more freedom to drive to the basket and shoot from distance. It started with Allen Iverson with his electric crossover.
It's a play by Iverson, giving up more than half a foot to Russell.
Now he's got Stockton. He breaks his ankle.
He was mesmerizing, so the way carrying violations were called started to be relaxed. Next was the removal of hand checking. No longer could you actively inhibit an offensive player's movement on the perimeter. But we're not done yet. In 2015, the league started to significantly reduce the congestion of the schedule. Gone would be playing 3 games in a row and 5 games in 7 nights. With more rest would come a faster pace of play, and with it, more shots. Speaking of more shots, do you remember Zaza Pachulia sliding under Kawhi Leonard's feet on a jumper in the 2017 playoffs? The league did, and enhanced the penalties for sliding under a player's feet and any kind of sloppy closeout, making it easier to shoot from distance. Compare jump shots today to jumpers 20 years ago, and the contrast is stark. Next, in 2018, with possibly the biggest rule change, the league officially allowed the gather step, effectively leading to 3 legal steps without traveling being called. This has paved the way for far more drives to the basket, and with it, much higher percentage shots. But we're not done. In 2025, the league will likely welcome 2 new franchises in Las Vegas and Seattle, potentially watering down the talent pool in their initial years. The circumstances, after 62 long years, are aligning for a legitimate run at Wilt's unreal 100-point game.
It's time for
EJ's Reno Saturday Night.
There's also a mark that's never been equaled, and this is the anniversary of it.
100-point game.
100-point game. Will anybody ever do it? No.
100 points?
Will anybody ever score 100 points in a game?
You can't score 100 points in a game.
I disagree.
Through all the rule changes, field goal percentages have steadily risen, with more shots now taken at a much more efficient rate. Back when Wilt set the scoring mark, it took him 63 shots to score 100, but he only made 36 of those attempts. When Kobe scored 81 in 2006, he did it on 46 shots. Regardless of any rule changes, it will take a mindset like Kobe's to break the record. So who are the candidates today to take a run at the record? Last year, Jalen Brunson took 47 shots in a game. In fact, there are 7 active players who have taken at least 40 shots in a game. Guards like Brunson, Jonte Murray, and Tyrese Maxey have all had at least one 40-shot game within the past year, but each missed over 40% of their shots. It will likely take above-average size to help provide the efficiency to make topping the record possible. Luka Doncic was able to score 73 points on only 36 shots. He has 7 50-point games, already scoring 60 and 73 points respectively. He can score on drives, shoot from distance, all while hitting his free throws. He's also had 14 games with at least 30 shots already. Joel Embiid is another who's capable. He's scored over 58 times, including his own 70-point game. He's also had 10 games with at least 30 shots. Giannis Antetokounmpo, while scoring over 50 points 8 times with a high of 64 in 2023, has seen his shot totals lowered with the addition of Damian Lillard. He also lacks the 3-point proficiency of Luka and Embiid. There is, however, one other with a legitimate chance. While only 20 years old, Victor Wembanyama has the size, ability, and efficiency to exploit the right team. He can score on drives, post-ups, threes, and free throws. With his unique length, he might have the potential. But whoever it is, all it takes is one game. Maybe at the end of the season, where one team has nothing to play for. Maybe there's a scoring title on the line. Those were the circumstances when David Thompson and David Robinson each hit the 70 mark. Maybe a player gets hot. His team sees there's a chance at history. They keep feeding him the ball. All the offense flows through them. The calls start going his way. Maybe it's a close game to justify the amount of shots taken. Maybe a game goes to overtime, and when it's all said and done, someone's taken close to 50 shots. There's no question it would take a monumental effort to accomplish such a feat. But with the freedom of movement that today's rule variations allow, and the elevated athleticism and length that a select few currently have, the stars are aligning to make the unthinkable once again thinkable. The only problem would be we need to watch out what we wish for, because imagine what it would feel like to have someone finally break this amazing record, to only have someone else do it just a few days later.